Hey everyone, I'm Richard, this is Grey Wizard Gaming, and today we're talking about what is Terraforming Mars Prelude and how will it affect your game and your group. Okay, so Terraforming Mars Prelude is a very tiny expansion. This is it, this collection of things. 7 project cards, looks like 50 Prelude cards, and looks like 5 corporation cards, as well as a new solo mode that you can play. And you can use this with any combination of expansions. It's pretty cool. We'll talk about the solo mode in a moment. So the important piece about Prelude are these Prelude cards. So there's an entirely new, and they only go into effect before the game plays. So everybody is dealt 4 of these, and they pick 2. Now, just for example, these 4 Prelude cards I drew, one of them gives +1 plant production and lets you draw 3 cards. Should say draw and keep 3 cards. This one places an ocean tile and increases your heat production by 2 steps. The dome farming gives you +1 plant production and +2 money production. And the orbital construction yard gives you +1 titanium production and lets you start the game with 4 more starting titanium. So an important also point is that each of these Prelude cards have symbols. In this case, this one has the plant and the builder symbol. This one has the science symbol, and this one has the titanium symbol, just for example. So, I guess the space symbol technically. So the Prelude cards are going to give you additional production, usually, that reflects like your corporation's starting assets, as well as symbols, which can then let you play other cards later on in the game earlier. And that's the theme of Prelude. Prelude is what was happening before you won the contract to start terraforming Mars. Who are you? What can you do? And you're not just a starting corporation. Obviously, as you go hundreds of years into the future, you develop all these cool, project cards. And I love new project cards. I love the project card getting bigger. And I love the fact that anymore, we actually don't have to shuffle the project cards. Like the game is over before we ever run out, which means every single game is going to be different. And certain technologies that you think you want or you hope you get, they might not show up. And I like that. You have a lot of Prelude cards. So if everybody's getting 4 and there's some 50 of these here, then you're gonna have many different combinations of games where people started with different preludes. And what do those mean? There's also, for the different corporations, there's some interesting things like Valley Trust. They start with 37 money, but as your first action, draw 3 Prelude cards and play 1 of them. Wow. I mean, the Prelude cards are powerful. And so for you to start with an extra, the player who played this corporation last, they were a strong number 2 player. And they only weren't player 1, not for playing badly, but basically kind of for luck. Maybe a little bit of greed. Drafting, you have to balance greed with play, right? So at any rate, the starting corporations mostly give you symbols as well. So between the symbols that they give you plus the Prelude symbols, you're likely to start with quite a few symbols, which means you're going to unlock some of the better project cards earlier, right? You have to have 3 science symbols. You have to have, 5 builder tags or something wacky. So, you know, those things, you're going to start earlier. At least some of you are. And each of you are going to start with different things earlier. And I think that's better. I think for our group, we finish the game in a more reasonable amount of time. And that makes the game just more enjoyable. There just comes a point where you're like, we've been playing this game a long time. And when every game you start the first 2 or 3 generations just building up what Prelude gives you before you can actually do your cool combos and things and know, like, oh, I guess my strategy is based around science. Well, here you would have already started with some science. There is a couple interesting new rules in addition to the Prelude cards. You have this question mark. The question mark is a wild card, and once you have played it, it now can count as any one symbol, basically whenever you need it. So that's pretty cool. It doesn't count for scoring, and it doesn't count. Well, I mean, it doesn't count for scoring. It doesn't count for things that are like anything except, do you need 5 science tags? Well, it can count as a science tag. Do you need a bio tag? It can count as a bio tag. Oh, you get something for every bio tag? Oh, it's a bio tag. You know, whatever, things like that. So that's cool. The solo mode puts a timer, and it says, hey, you're playing by yourself, and your goal is to reach TR63 in 14 generations. You don't care about the end goal. You don't care about actually terraforming. So if you want to focus on Venus or whatever, that's fine. But your goal is TR63 in 12 generations. I think that's a pretty cool solo mode, because I just like building the engine anyway. So sitting here, playing out the cards, trying to build the fastest engine I can and trying to hit that 63 number, that sounds reasonable enough to me, almost like a board game solitaire, right? I don't know, I think it's cool. They also give you a new standard project when you're doing solo mode called Buffer Gas. You pay 16 money to raise your terraforming rating 1 step. So yeah, otherwise you follow the normal solo game rules. So, you know, look in the main book for the rest of the rules there. But just the timer and the aspect of, hey, I want to go as fast as I can, that I think that can be good just for helping get your scoring up. Yep. This is Prelude. I really like it. I would not play without Prelude. I would play without Venus, just for comparison. I like Venus. I'm glad it's here. Glad we have floater cards and stuff like that. But for the most part, I no longer even notice that Venus is in the box. It just comes out and it does stuff. Prelude, this is a great permanent addition. You should not play Terraforming Mars without Prelude, in my opinion. With that, I'd love to hear what is your favorite expansion, or do you disagree? Do you not like Prelude for some reason? I think we're all looking forward to Terraforming Mars Conflict, which is going to add some sort of warfare component. I did back it on Kickstarter, so looking forward to that. And with that, click like, click subscribe, and bye guys.